Welcome to Salcedo Paranormal. It is Friday, May 6th, 2022. And today I'll be talking about amusement parks that reportedly are haunted. Um, as part of this little trilogy on fairs and festivals and amusement parks and the paranormal. As always, you can find all the episodes of the podcast and links to social media, ways to donate, and ways to contact me at the podcast page, which is salcedoparanormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions for shows, or if you have stories or experiences with the paranormal, whether they're your own or others that you trust. Always happy to either read those on the show or have you join me on the show to talk about them. And so tonight, again, we'll be finishing this trilogy on basically fairs and festivals and amusement parks and the paranormal. Thank you all for listening, whether you're here for the live stream. I see everyone there that's in the channels, and or whether you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds. So it's always appreciated. So I have a few articles here I'll be sharing tonight. And I'll put the first one in the stream chat right now. Of course, I'll share all these articles in the episode description as well once I put out this episode. First article is a list of some different places, and then the next three articles I'll just touch on that mention individual locations. So this is from the website Ranker, and it's the title is, let's see here. Oops. Gotta pop up here. Anyway, one moment. Oops, one moment. I'm sorry, there's this pop-up that's not going away. Okay, there we go. So, this is, let's see here. And I got scrolled down, so. Okay, here we go. Sorry about the delay. This is allegedly haunted amusement parks and attractions anyone can visit today. And, excuse me, rough night. Anyway, this is, came out, or at least updated, on September 23rd, 2021. Looks like it's by Hannah Gilham. So this mentions several locations here, and I will list these off here and mention a thing or two, summarize these individual entries here. Now, this first item on this list that they have here, number one, I hadn't thought of this location in this way, but apparently, I guess that's at least this website considers the Queen Mary luxury liner and amusement park are an attraction. So again, we've covered this before in the show several different times. At least mentioned it before anyway. But the ship is known as America's one of America's most haunted places. Guests, it says, have felt temperature changes and drops, experienced flickering lights, heard slamming doors, children, knocks on doors, and of course screams. Some of these articles, of course, they're basically they tend to lean towards the, I guess, more sensational claims in a way. But yeah, so that's the first location. So, but this next one is, it's the title is "Children's Laughter is Heard at the Abandoned Six Flags, New Orleans." And let's see here. Oops, hang on. Let's skip it. Okay, there we go. So apparently this was an amusement park that is now abandoned. Um, and it's been abandoned since. Okay, it's been abandoned since it was hit by Hurricane Katrina. It was also formerly known as Jazzland. But apparently it's known for urban exploration, people that reportedly try to break in, and when they do, um, they hear phantom laughter and then the music from rides that haven't operated in over a decade. So again, that just comes back to there's so much energy that is generated, I think, and then used in or left behind in these places, these amusement parks. That who knows what that could be? That could be residual sounds. um, so could be a number of different things there. Let's see, number 3, of course, and this will be something I cover in another article here. One of the other articles mentions this. This one says numerous ghosts roam Disneyland, and of course, this is Disneyland is in Anaheim, California. I say of course because I always forget and just basing on this article here. But and apparently most of the spirits that are seen in this park are supposedly the spirits of those that perished in accidents at the park over the years. Um, People report seeing a man who appears near the monorail track at night before disappearing. Um, Basically, right before or right in front of an oncoming tram, and apparently, this there was a suspected that this was. They give a man's name. I'm not going to use it here, but a young man that tried to sneak into the park at night by climbing over the fence. But when he reached the monorail track, he was hit by an oncoming train. There's another woman that's said to haunt the park. She was a teenage hostess working at the America Sings attraction. And apparently she was killed by one of the rotating theater walls. And now this is interesting. The cast members report hearing someone they assume to be this woman whisper, "Be careful," if they're in danger. Kind of like a guardian, almost like a guardian spirit that's watching out for people in the place where she maybe could have been saved if there had been more watching out, maybe, or at least just trying to avoid any more accidents like what happened to her. And then, of course, says many cast members and attendees say sometimes they see or hear Walt Disney wandering around his old studio apartment, and I have heard of this before in different shows, which is above the Main Street firehouse. And apparently this says, so since his death in 1966, cast members have kept the light on in the apartment window. They keep it on, basically, that says eternally for him, which is apparently how he is witnessed in that window. This says Disney fans also suggest the Pirates of the Caribbean ride is haunted since apparently real human bones from the UCLA Medical Center were originally used in the ride. I haven't looked into that directly, so I don't know for sure how the details of that one. But if that's true, then my gosh, that is not something you would expect. But anyway, so let's see here. So this next one they mentioned here in this article is Kings Island in Ohio. And just let me check on the chat real quick here again. But yeah, so this has been this series has been a lot of fun to look into everything. Excuse me, but so thank you all for listening, and also I have a couple of one of the articles tonight was suggested, or at least the location was suggested by another friend of the show, so I'll get to that when I get there. Okay, let me see here. I'll get back to this article here. So, Kings Island in Ohio. It says, according to visitors, there are several different spirits that that have been witnessed in this area. Guests report seeing a young girl in a blue dress, believed to have passed in the 1800s. And then apparently there is a cemetery on the island. And let me see here. Apparently people see her at the International Restaurant and Water Canyon ride. Visitors also say that they see a young boy in a white suit near the racetracks when the sun goes down. And apparently it's the spirit of a child that was found in near a ride attraction. And so let's see here. But let's see here. So another one that's seen is young man who fell in 1983 while climbing the Eiffel Tower at the park's entrance. At least that's the report anyway. They're associating this one spirit with. And then many say that ghosts from the nearby. There's a nearby ammo factory that also has spirits that are attached to it. It says that the factory had several explosions throughout the last century, which apparently, with all the explosions, the total it's killed about 30 people and injured many others. And it says residents still say they hear footsteps following them, and then see swinging elevator cables while they're exploring that building, which is also abandoned, or which is abandoned. So let's see here. I think I'll leave the last 5 in this article just because we're already at 15 minutes in, and I still have 3 different locations to talk about. So I'll leave the rest of this article for you all to check out. Let me see here. I don't know if I put it. Let me see if I make sure I put it. Okay, I did. Yeah. So check out that article for more locations and more details on things. So we'll end with that one, or end that one for now. And I'll move on to the article here. It's really ironic in a way. I was talking about this with some friends the other night. I can't remember when now. A little while back, and the subject came up. I mentioned how I've heard some of the Disney resorts or parks being supposedly haunted, and it's fairly well known. And this is, I said that when you do if you look into that online, you can find results really easily. And I happened to type in, this topic, and this was the first article that came up. So, um, basically proved my point that this is pretty well known. Um, this is from a website called Inside the Magic, and let's see here. This is the title is Paranormal Activity at Disney Parks. Guests share their stories. So, and this is posted on September 25th, 2020 by Kelly Coffey, is I guess the writer of this. So, says that, of course, there references this, one of the main attractions, which is the Haunted Mansion ride or attraction, which is where things are set up. And that's another interesting topic in a way, because sometimes if you look into different haunted house attractions, if you look deep enough into them, you can find reports of actual paranormal activity in those sites. And of course, sometimes it's because these kind of attractions are opened up in places with tragic history. But sometimes that just seems to, maybe that kind of energy seems to attract paranormal to these places, I think, as well. But let's see here. So apparently there are many different reports. Again, this article mentions that basically both of the locations, Disney World and Disneyland, have reports of paranormal activity in them. And oops. Okay. So just looking here at the article. Hopefully it doesn't okay, good. It's playing videos, and I just want to make sure they were still muted. So apparently there has been a man seen with a cane. It's an urban legend about cast members that have seen an old man with a cane riding the dune buggies in the haunted mansion. The story said that he can be seen in the area between the offload and unload points for the ride. They say he's sitting alone in the buggy, holding a cane on his lap and staring straight forward. Let's see here. So that's the first. Some of these are more just reports of reports, so you never know. I think this article mentions them as legends, but sometimes I've seen that used as kind of a way to discount reports of paranormal activity in places. So you can kind of look at it however you want to, I guess. You can look at it as a legendary report or however you want to call it. But another one of these spirits that is reportedly seen at Walt Disney World. The story is that when Pirates of the Caribbean was being constructed, one of the workers fell and died in the ride. No one has ever proved this, but cast members will um, attribute anything that happens on the ride to a ghost named George. Apparently, cast members say good morning and goodbye to George when they're opening and closing it, and they say that if you just talk to them, it'll basically do things on command. And I guess the reason for doing that, and I've heard this in other places too, where there'll be activity, but then it'll stop or slow down. Basically, if you acknowledge whoever or whatever you think is there. Of course, that can be a double-edged sword at times, but that has been reported in different cases. So let's see here. Just going further into this article. And this is really based on a whole bunch of Reddit comments and posts and everything. And so next story it talks about is some of the cast members say they'll see a floating lady on the security monitor. She'll show up and then not be seen for years. And she's basically reported as having wiry hair. I don't know what that's about for sure, but so let's see here. That's in the let me see here. Looks like that's associated with the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, I think, as well. Not sure on that one. So let's see here. The next one is. Oops, I lost my place. Okay, Sawyer Island. That's the next location they talk about in this article. Apparently, this is it says, okay, so they're saying even some of the places, if there's no activity, they give people the chills. And I'm guessing, so it's talking about there's these caves on this island that give people the creeps. Which again, that comes back to what is it about caves? They're, especially if they're natural, they're made of stone and they're surrounding you, and then depending on what they're made of, that's energy fields that are surrounding people if you're walking around in them. So let's see here. This article is kind of hit and miss, but okay. So I think that'll do it for that article. There's more to it, so you can all check out the rest of it and check it out in better detail. But yeah, let me just check on one thing real quick. But yeah, researching this has been a lot of fun. And I got two more articles I can share here with y'all. Okay, so APOC, hello APOC in the chat, I see you there. APOC says I've been there, and they really are a creepy feeling. It was tangible. Okay, yeah, so that is something. That's again, we've already kind of done shows about mountains and caves and all that, so I don't think we need to really revisit that too much, but excuse me. Yeah, there's something about caves, and I definitely agree with that. I haven't even really been in any, but I've heard, just based on what I've heard about them, there's something to them. So, so that's the Disney article there. I'm sure you can find more if you did look into it more. But I didn't want to just focus on Disney, so I found a couple other articles here. And what's the next one in the stream chat here? And I have heard of this one. I haven't looked into it a lot, but I've heard of the location. This is from a website called Road Unraveled, and it's called The Haunted History of Lake Shawnee Amusement Park. So let's get into that one real quick. And this is apparently by one Stephanie Hubka. I'm not sure how you say that exactly. So let's see here. Apparently, this is a former amusement park, and that is apparently abandoned now or closed at this point. But they still give tours once in a while. And they talk about the history of it. Let's see here. Okay, so let's get into this. It has a section on the history of the place here. It says the history of this park dates back to technically anyway, back to 1926 when the park first opened. But also the area has roots that go back hundreds of years into the past. But it took current events to reveal that. It opened in 1926, and it was originally purchased to the original owner wanted a place for local families to relax and enjoy time together. And so the owners then set up this park, and it became a summer vacation destination. It featured originally a man-made swimming lake, racetrack, concessions, and even cabins for people that wanted to stay there overnight. And of course, had a Ferris wheel. Basically, just going back then, it was a amusement park. But of course, over time, the several deaths happened in the 1950s in the location, and due to different attractions there, and by 1966, these mishaps and accidents and ended up getting the park closed by 1966, and then the land sat basically empty for decades. It reopened in well, that's not really that many decades, but anyway, it opened in the 1980s when new owners set up or bought the land, and but apparently that's not long after that is when actually let me see here. I'm gonna see. Okay, so there was, unfortunately, it says high insurance prices basically made it impossible to run the place as a business, and so they hosted fishing tournaments in what used to be the swimming lake. So basically, they tried to use the land for other things that could be make money that weren't exactly related to a amusement park, including this racetrack for an event called, let's see here. It's called mud bogging, which is a motorsport that involves, I guess, vehicles that can go through the mud. I'm not familiar with it, but anyway, while making the track, there was discoveries found in the ground, and it turned out to be people that had originally called the land home, which was the Shawnee tribe. In the 1700s, that island or that area was the home base for Native Americans until they seemed to suddenly disappear. But there were in this location there were bracelets, clothing, and tools found, along with mass graves that suggested as many as 3,000 Shawnee may have been buried on the property, according to this article here. So, let's see here. I'm just trying to figure out how to summarize this. There's more, but there's more history and everything. But, of course, next part it goes to is questioning if the location is haunted. And says many people report interactions with a little girl who had died on the swings. And apparently the original swing set was there for a long time. And that's why some people claim that she's attached to that area and those swings. Also, some excuse me. Apparently, the swing that she passed on or near is marked by a red ribbon, although she doesn't use that one. She uses one that's nearby, which has some kind of owl ornament on it, and it says this object or this ornament will move around even when there is no wind or no breeze even. So, and then sometimes, so yeah, that's basically a report of that. Now, there's one of the other deaths that happened there, unfortunately, is the young boy that drowned in this man-made lake. Is apparently seen throughout the park, and is seen where he basically welcomes and protects visitors, and when it's basically close to the lake. Let's see here. I lost my spot. Okay, it says close to the lake there's a white plastic pinwheel attached to the side of an old ticket booth. And it says maybe connection from this time to the current. Apparently this pinwheel moves even when there is no wind. So again, these moving objects, it's hard to say who or what is causing it, if that's all they're seeing. But now apparently this has been caught on video as well, though. So, but again, it's hard to say. Sounds like it's basically just movement of objects, but then I guess it did say that this boy has been seen around the park. And the girl too as well. So, seems like there's possibly some children spirits there. Of course, sad how they passed, but something I've noticed in some cases is sometimes spirits stay in places and it seems like they're there because of how they died, but I think in some cases maybe they stay in places because they really like the place. Maybe not the location where they passed, but other aspects of the place. I could see children wanting to be in an amusement park and near an amusement park. Of course, that's if all of this is actually spirits. Hard to say for sure either way. What could be causing these things, especially again if the main things that are happening are just objects moving without a visible reason for them to be doing that. So yeah, it's let's see here. APOC says I know it well. I wonder how they disappeared. Sarcasm. It's sad. Yeah. No, it is. It's it's definitely some dark stuff in history. So, um, so that's that location. I have one more, and now this one was suggested to me, um, by a friend of the show. Called into the show one time, back when we had that call in, the first call in show. Matt, let's see here, suggested this location to me, and so I found this article about it, and share it here, and I will share it in the podcast description. So I hadn't heard of this, but of course I'm not really big on amusement parks or parks really in that way. I'm not going to. I don't know for sure how to say this author's last name for sure, but Katrina is apparently their first name. And this is from a website called culturetrip.com. And the article is titled "This Fairy Tale Amusement Park in Oregon." Oregon. I always never know how to say that name. May actually be haunted. So, let's see here. Get to the article. So, let me see here. Apparently, this place is called the Enchanted Forest, which is a massive amusement park in Oregon. But there's been reports of paranormal experiences there that people have had. Apparently, both from employees and also visitors. And this is in apparently near Portland and or Salem. So it's a 20-acre amusement park. It was literally built, says, in a forest, and it stands. So let's see here. So let's see what's going on here. Apparently, a lot of the attractions were handcrafted, such as again, it's like a fairy tale amusement park. So, Storybook Lane, and then rides like an ice mountain bobsled roller coaster, and so let's see here, and also it's a forest as well, so that makes it even more interesting just to look at, I would imagine. And then, but people have reported other things besides just the park and the forest. And let's see here. I'm just skipping through all the. There we go. Ads. So apparently, in different locations, like the haunted house attraction, and the challenge of Mondor. There's a presence that is sensed there, and it's even been this location has even been featured on different paranormal TV shows as well. And it says the story of the park starts with Roger Tofte, I'm not sure, park's creator, who came up with the idea for this project in 1971. And let's see here. So apparently during this TV show that was filmed there, the park's manager, who is actually the original owner's granddaughter, says that even though her name is Ashley, even though she never personally experienced anything, she said that the haunted house attraction made her feel anxious and overwhelmed. Let's see here. Also, one of the other ride operators, that's Challenge of Mondor ride operator, said that they had a strange encounter there, and basically said that they heard footsteps behind them. but no one was there. And then, let's see here, he experienced this energy that went right through him, and made him dizzy for a second, and then he just got the chills. Again, energy, if it's moving fast enough and through you, I can imagine. I've been very lucky. I haven't had too much of that ever, but I've had it around me, and even that's enough sometimes. So, let's see here. Mentions that the haunted houses built along with the rest of the attractions, but the Challenge of Mondor was made in 2006. But no tragedies ever occurred in the park, it says, so they're wondering where the spirits came from. And that is a good question. But of course, they're talking about tragedies in the park's history. Again, this goes back to the history of the U.S. and the interactions and the apparently the battles between settlers and those that were already here. So I mentioned that as being a possible cause for some of this. Again, that's one of those things I believe it can happen, but also I think it's overused or used a lot without a lot of correlating experiences. So it's really hard to say what's going on. But one of the other, let's see here. Oh, so apparently the original owner still is there with it working there. And he says the only experience he had in the park was strange ideas. Okay. So it's kind of ironic though, is that it says the only strange experience that he had there was the ideas that came into his head as to what to create next. So that goes back to that whole idea again as to where do ideas come from when it comes to people making things. And I guess you can add theme parks to that list of creative projects. So, but and this is just really a brief sample of stories of experiences at these kinds of places. Again, it's always hard to know what the cause is for some of these things. There's accidents definitely, and where people do unfortunately get hurt or killed. Then there's also like these couple of these articles mentioned here. There's the history of just the country itself, the U.S. itself, and the way it was settled, and the way people were killed in that process. So, but yeah, so that's really the end of this series here. Wow, we've already been going for a long time. So, but so yeah, that's the end of this series. And I've got some ideas for the next couple of Fridays. Next Friday, the plan is, as of right now, going to have a special guest on with me to talk about basically TV and movies, basically Hollywood, and the way they have shaped the public's perception of the paranormal. I'll bring up a few things. I'll have a couple of ideas and a couple of articles just to get the conversation started. But it'll be just a conversation, and looking forward to that. And then I don't have anything planned for sure for 2 Fridays from now, but that's a little ways away. I have some ideas, but also always looking for you all with ideas as to what you'd like to hear more about. I know mythology suggested. That's a really big really one thing to get into, so I'm still formulating how I want to tackle that, but we will get there eventually. And so Monday, more paranormal news. Tuesday will be true paranormal stories from the web. Wednesday is going to be another comic book view show with Derek, featuring Doctor Strange. We're going to cover that character and his origins, and then some other stories featuring him. Thursday, of course, will be more true paranormal stories from the web, and then, as I said, next Friday will be Hollywood and the paranormal. So, thank you all for listening, and I'll talk to you all on Monday on the next episode of Salcedo Paranormal. Take care.